In the late 1970s, the music industry wasn't exactly built for independence. Record labels called the shots, producers shaped the sound, and new artists were expected to play along. Then came along a teenager from Minnesota who decided he'd do it all himself. Prince wasn't just a musician, he was a one-person music ecosystem, writing, producing, singing, dancing, arranging, and playing practically every instrument in sight. The kind of artist who didn't just raise the bar, he rewired it, polished it, and recorded a B-side about it at 3 a.m. If you've ever wondered why artists talk so much about creative control, or why genre lines feel so blurry in modern music, a big part of that conversation traces back to Prince. But before the purple motorcycles and stadium tours, and in my opinion, one of the greatest halftime shows ever, he was just a kid trying to carve out space in a world that didn't quite know what to do with someone like him. Welcome to episode 8 of For Beginners, where we dive into the life and legacy of one of the most influential artists of all time, Prince. For Beginners. Prince Rogers Nelson was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1958. His father, John L. Nelson, was a jazz pianist and songwriter. His mother, Mattie Della, was a singer. From the start, he seemed in tune with every instrument he touched, naturally connected to the sound, like he understood what each one was trying to say. He wrote his first song on his father's piano at 7 years old, and by his early teens, he was already performing in local bands around Minneapolis. In 1978, at just 19 years old, he signed his first major record deal with Warner Brothers on one very bold condition. He'd write, produce, and perform everything himself. No outside producers, no studio hands, just him. At the time, that kind of deal was almost unheard of. Most new artists were at the mercy of record label producers who dictated their sound, look, and even which songs made the album. Labels wanted radio hits, not creative risks, and the producer's word was usually final. But Prince wasn't interested in being molded into a pop product. He wanted to control every second of what came out of the speakers, down to the fade-outs. Warner took the risk, Prince proved them right. His debut album, For You, didn't top the charts, but it turned heads in the industry. It was a statement that this kid from Minnesota wasn't here to fit in. He was here to take over. By the end of the 1970s, the music world was in a transitional in-between space. Disco had burned out, rock was getting slicker, and R&B was dominated by big-budget producers, shaping every beat and hook. Quincy Jones was crafting Off the Wall with Michael Jackson, Nile Rodgers was making funk sound like luxury, and in the middle of all that polish came Prince, a self-contained studio wizard from Minneapolis who didn't sound like anyone else. His second album, simply titled Prince, dropped in 1979, and this time there was no missing him. The single, I Wanna Be Your Lover, shot up the charts, introducing to the world an artist who could make a radio hit entirely on his own terms. Funk, R&B, pop, rock all collided into something new, something that felt like the future. Over the next few years, Prince only got bolder. Albums like Dirty Mind and Controversy pushed boundaries musically and visually. He blended the energy of punk with the groove of funk and challenged every expectation about gender, sexuality, and sound. Tracks like Uptown, Head, and Do Me Baby showed that he could be explicit, experimental, and still completely irresistible. By 1982, he released 1999, the album that turned him into a global name. Little Red Corvette, Delirious, Let's Pretend We're Married, and 1999. It wasn't just music, it was a full-blown identity. The Purple era had begun, and Prince was just getting warmed up. In 1984, Prince took his sound and his vision to a completely new level. His sixth album, Purple Rain, wasn't just a record. It was a full-on cultural event. Paired with the feature film of the same name, Purple Rain took Prince from a chart topper into a generational figure. He and his band, The Revolution, featuring Wendy Mulvoin, Lisa Coleman, Dr. Fink, Brown Mark, and Bobby Z, delivered a sound that blended rock guitars and gospel drama and funk grooves into something massive. Songs like When Doves Cry, Let's Go Crazy, and the title track Purple Rain became instant classics, the kind of songs that stop time whenever they hit the radio. The film Purple Rain was just as bold, semi-autobiographical, rebellious, and drenched in style. It won the Academy Award for Best Original Song Score, and it cemented Prince's image as the mysterious electric genius with total command over every note, look, and emotion. The accompanying world tour sold out arenas and set a new bar for live pop performances, mixing rock theatrics with funk precision. By the mid-'80s, Prince was untouchable, outpacing nearly everyone in pop music, not in just sales, but in sheer influence. And as always, he was already thinking 2 steps ahead. By the early 90s, Prince had done it all. Chart-topping albums, sold-out tours, Grammys, even an Oscar. But behind all that success, a war was brewing. His record label Warner Brothers owned the masters to his music and tightly controlled his release schedule. For an artist who built his identity on independence, that was a deal breaker. In 1993, he made one of the boldest moves in music history, changing his name to an unpronounceable symbol. It wasn't a gimmick, it was a protest. Unable to use his old name in business, he performed with "slave" written across his cheek, forcing the industry to face the very control he was fighting against. It was shocking, confusing, and completely Prince. He refused to let anyone else define him, not even the people selling his records. That's so badass. During that period, he released albums like The Gold Experience and Emancipation, proving he could stay creative even under pressure. And long after the headlines faded, his fight paid off. The stand that he took in the 90s became a blueprint for future artists demanding control over their work. From Taylor Swift re-recording her albums to independent creators owning their masters. Prince wasn't just protecting his art, he was protecting the idea that artists should own themselves. Prince wasn't just a studio genius, he was a force of nature on stage. Every performance felt like its own reality. Precise, unpredictable, and completely magnetic. He could shred on guitar 1 second, drop into a James Brown split the next, and still make it look effortless. If you want to see him at full power, check out the 1985 Syracuse Purple Rain concert. It's here on YouTube, filmed in all its neon, sweat, and glory. For something wilder, his Love Sexy tour of 1988 features him dancing through a surreal cityscape and pulling down a streetlight prop mid-song. And for a masterclass in musicianship, his 2004 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame solo during While My Guitar Gently Weeps leaves people speechless, especially the moment he throws his guitar straight into the air, never looks to see where it lands, and just walks off the stage like it's nothing. So badass. And then came the moment that sealed his legend. The 2007 Super Bowl halftime show. In the middle of a Florida thunderstorm, he stepped onto a slick stage in pumps and played Let's Go Crazy, Baby I'm a Star, and a searing cover of All Along the Watchtower. Then, under the rain, he played Purple Rain. The symbolism couldn't have been scripted. He played Purple Rain in the rain. It was one of those rare spine-tingling moments when music and myth fused perfectly, and somehow Prince made it look like it was all part of the plan. And hey, if you're ever on 6th Street in Austin, Texas, come into Pete's Dueling Piano Bar and check out my coworker, my inspiration, and one of my dearest friends, Alan Fisher. He is a force, a true Prince superfan, and someone you'll be glad you saw live and in person. I've linked his socials in the description. Prince never stopped creating. Even in his later years, he was releasing albums, mentoring younger artists, and selling out shows that felt more like spiritual revivals than concerts. He never cared about the boxes that people tried to put him in, musically, visually, or personally. Just like the band Queen, he made it cool to be weird, sexy to be smart, and powerful to be yourself. When he passed in 2016, it felt like the lights went out in a room that had never gone dark before. But the truth is, Prince never really left. You can still feel it in every artist who refuses to play it safe. He taught us that real revolution isn't about rebellion, it's about freedom. And for Prince, freedom was always found in the music. So that, my friends, is Prince for beginners. He proved you could own your art, shape your sound, and stand for something bigger, all while doing it in heels with a guitar in hand and having more confidence than most people have in a lifetime. What about you? What's your favorite Prince moment? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing your stories. In next week's episode, we're going to be taking a trip through the stars into the ever-changing world of David Bowie. And after that, well, there's still one final mystery left in season 1. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. We'll see you next time.